Well, howdy y'all. This here's the Handy Redneck. It's still March 19th, uh, and I'm still working tomatoes. I told you I'd show you doing some tomatoes in buckets, so let's get down to her. I done planted some cucumbers in these here buckets over here. As you can see, there's 3 plants in this bucket and 2 plants in this bucket, and over here, since I only had 5 plants, I dropped a couple of cucumber seeds, so they should come up and fill out that bucket quite nicely. What we got here is our tomatoes. You saw me earlier plant out all the others out into the bed out there because they was getting a bit leggy. So since we're planting out, we'll go ahead and get these out here too. So with these, just like the others, we're going to actually plant them fairly deep. We're going to go up to, leave only about a hand high, sticking above the soil. And again, in these buckets, we're only going to go up to where about an inch and a half from the top. So we'll start here. Let's dig down a bit. Figure out about how deep we're going to go. Oh, that looks pretty good. Again, if you look, these tomatoes got a pretty good root system on them, but they are getting a bit root bound in those solo cups. So I'm going to put my hand down the side here to figure out how far away from the edge of the bucket, because we don't want it right up against the edge. We do want a little room. We'll fill in with some dirt behind it. Then we'll dig down this side for the next one. Yeah. Maybe a little deeper. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Again, all these little hairs along the edge of the, or along the stem of the tomato. Pardon me. I'm gonna sneeze. Hey, woo! Anyway, the hairs along the stem of this here tomato will, over time, develop into roots. And I wish those neighbors would stop burning leaves. Woo, that makes me sneeze. The roots will develop into, or the hairs will develop into roots, and that'll actually, because we're going deep, benefit the plant quite nicely. Let's see if I got me a scoop here. We'll just have to use one of these old and again, we're just filling this up, lightly packing it in around the plants. We don't have to pack it hard. We don't want to pack it down hard. As we water, it'll compact more anyway. But we want to fill her up and get those stems covered up to about our inch and a half there. So we got us a nice area. And again, if we don't compress it too hard, those little hairs that'll turn into roots, well, they'll if the soil ain't hard, those roots will go out quick and we'll have good growth and everything. So, alright, there's 2 in 1. Ooh, we'll get these other ones in here and clean it up. Later on, I'll come back and water them in. That again, just so the soil settles and it don't hurt to have air pockets in your soil. You know, it's air down there ain't gonna hurt your plants. It actually helps them, because little pockets of air and everything means pockets of water and other things, eventually pockets of roots. Again, I'm holding my hand in there to space from the side of the bucket, about an inch or so from the side for the bottom of the root ball. Some people will tell you, well, you got to cut off the leaves and everything before you bury them and whatnot. I'm not that ate up about it, you know, because nature don't do that stuff. So, as a gardener, we can't improve on nature, but we can copy it, because nature's been doing it a long time. She knows what she's doing. So instead of trying to reteach her, how about we listen to what she's telling us? Hi, Ruby Doo. I'd pet you, but my hands is all dirty. Going in the house now. Go on, get. Again, lightly pack it down. You know, don't get too head up about it, because when we water it, it'll pack down a little more itself. So we just fill her up to about 1 inch below the soil, or 1 inch below the edge of the bucket. And that'll be how we do tomatoes. Now these tomatoes here are, I don't know exactly what kind they are. The package that came in said heirloom mix. So it could be, you know, we could have yellow ones or red ones or green zebra stripies or whatnot. I want to say this heirloom mix tomato seed packet was free seeds I got from my order of from Baker Creek Heirlooms up in Mansfield, Missouri. Yeah, I don't think I've had a bad set of seeds from them yet. Now, I've had some that I thought took longer to germinate than they should have, but generally speaking, I have about a 90 to 95% germination rate from their seeds. So, you know, that's real good germination rates. And even with a packet of older seeds from a couple years back, you know, I'm still getting a good 75-80% germination rate. So that's all good. So, you know, those fellers, or, well, I say fellers, from the pictures I've seen and everything, they ain't all fellers, but those folks up there seem to have a pretty good set of seeds. So, all right, there we go. We got 2 buckets of tomatoes. And we got 2 buckets of cucumbers. I'm going to get me some more buckets. If you remember, I showed you the other day how to turn these buckets into 5-gallon planters. So I'm going to probably get me about 7 more, because I got 2, 4, 6, 7 here now, and I probably want about 7 more, because I still got my my cherry tomatoes that I want to do in buckets. And then you know, I'm going to do some more cucumbers later, because it's always a good idea to succession plant. So, you know, we got these 2 buckets with at least 6 plants. Then we'll do another 2 buckets here in a couple more weeks. You know, probably mid to late April. We'll do 2 more buckets of them, and then mid to late May we'll do a couple more buckets. That way we've got cucumbers all through the year, and that'll give us what, six buckets full of cucumbers for a while. And then we'll have at least 6 buckets of tomatoes, because I got 12 little cherry tomatoes to plant, and they'll either go 2 or 3 to a bucket, just like this. So if they go 2 to a bucket, that means I need 6 buckets of those. So I need more buckets. Luckily, they're pretty cheap. And then I might do in 1 or 2 of the spare buckets, you know, I might do maybe a sweet potato vine growing out of one, mainly for the leaves. You know, you can do sweet taters in a bucket and get taters out of the bucket just fine, but I suggest if you're doing sweet taters, you do them in a tater tower or something like that, unless you're doing them for the leaves. Then a bucket is just fine. And the reason I say that is the bucket's kind of constraining, and you'll get sweet taters, but odds are they'll be relatively small sized compared to what you think they should be. They're still good eating. So anyway, this is buckets of tomatoes. So this here's a handy redneck saying, I'll talk at you all later.